Ah, yes. If you're watching us live, that can mean only one thing. It is Wednesday at noon Eastern time, and that is always and forever time for the High Noon Hemp Show. Of course, you can find us many places if you're watching video live or on demand. We're on the Facebook Temptations Beach page, also on the old YouTube at the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and at Temptations on Twitter/X, whatever you call it these days. You can also search for the High Noon Hemp Show podcast on Podbean, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. I am Stoner Jesus. I am up to various shenanigans and tomfoolery on the interwebs, which you can search for yourself if you feel like doing so. He is Beach, and he is high above the Temptations in Sharonville, Ohio, at the Hemp Quarters. Besides the normal cacophony of tech issues, how are the things this week in the world of Temptations, Beach?
If only my pictures would be sent through like I wanted. Decently well, as we are full blown in the yeah, uh, and so um, oh, shit. They need something, and dang it if I can't get it. Oh my gosh. And
Hey,
so
if
anyway,
you got to
I
do
tell
something,
you,
I will filibuster.
it will hit. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back, folks. Filibuster, stand in. I'll be right back.
Right.
Got to do some Temptations business.
Beach has to take care of Temptations business, which of course comes before High Noon Hemp Show business, because Temptations is, the reason for the season, if you will. It's definitely the reason for the show. That's why we're here. That's why you can see the scroll on the bottom, temptations.com for locations. I also have the addresses of the locations I'm going to be scrolling later as well. Sharonville and Northside. Go check them out. Whichever one you're closer to, whatever. Just go. All the hemp, the products, the glass products, just everything. Northside, Sharonville, or planeteverywhere.com if you want to order online. And of course, if you're just joining us, Beach is taking care of Temptations business. He is in the Sharonville location, and somebody needs something, and Beach is the man when it comes to hemp. So when the things go down, they go to Beach and say, "Hey, Beach, we got to get this done." That's why you should stop into it. So many products, like I said, hemp stuff, glass stuff, just tons.
Oh,
Just go one day and just walk around and check things out. Beach,
doing business all the time. Doing business, business,
right?
business,
I'm just telling
business.
people, go check out the Temptation location near you because Beach is working hard for you, as you can see.
That's right. Making sure the products come in, get them on the shelves.
That's right.
So, thank you everyone for being here. What a day! That's what we get for taking a week off,
That's right.
one way or another.
Oh, piled up.
It's always a lesson learned. Remember, folks, this is the High Noon Hemp Show. I am high above the Sharonville location in the Planet Everywhere Studios, and the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy. So,
Soon.
all right, let's go ahead and every week I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which is planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all. All right. Whew. Okay, settle in, get chilled. Let's get to the products and whatnot. Get this show on the road. We do have quite a bit of news this week because we kind of doubled up from
I just
last
got the
week.
new fix as well, so we're good to
Yay!
go.
Um, so the first one, which I think I could probably use right now on the products, is the TKO D8 pre rolls. Yeah, D8's the hot topic out there still for some reason, even though we've kind of moved on to D9 too. Legal industrial hemp, and so these come in a couple different. You get your sour diesel, gelato, I think Girl Scout cookies, and a couple other to choose from when it comes to your D8 pre roll. How about a little homestead on alternatives? These guys are local. They're right down in Kentucky. They make great products one way or another. This is a 600 milligram lotion, topical lotion, um, which, oh, I feel like we're frozen. Are we really
Everything's good on
frozen?
my end.
Huh.
Everything's good.
You Interesting. YouTube is frozen.
Well, that is
I
weird.
don't know what that means. Maybe I'm supposed to play it. Or maybe it's not frozen. I'm not sure. What the heck? Am I playing an old episode of Oh no, no,
That
that's it. That's weird. It paused my YouTube feed, and I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, um, let's get up to close to where we need to be. Anyway, so there's your homestead alternatives again. Kentucky grown, processed, made, everything done down in Kentucky. When it comes to the homestead alternatives topical lotion. Here's another product I think I probably could use right now are some high hemp wraps. I need some CBD flower wrapped up in some high hemp wraps to get me calm back down and a little action going before the show. Get my juices flowing. Get me excited. Now I need something to kind of calm me down. And this last product is the one that would really do it, and that's our Hemptations brand CBD gummies. These are the products that I think this is something that can help you get through the holidays as well
yeah,
when it comes to all of these crazy actions and everything going on, and the world becomes so turned upside down in this 1 month. In all honesty, I don't like to drive during this month because nobody's concentrating on driving. They're all thinking about something else. So,
yeah.
what the world needs now are some CBD gummies. And again, ours are 10 milligrams per gummy. They come in a 300, a 600, or a 900 package, which is just a quantity. You're either going to get 30, 60, or 90. Um, and, get what you need out of those for sure during this crazy time of year. It's just a crazy time of year, one way or another. I could use some of those to settle my stomach, probably, one way or another. And the one from my door, which I don't have written down, is that's right. This once again nut butter, basically, but it's a hemp butter. Um, Once again, and I get this. If you shop at the Northside store, you can walk up. I think it's 2 doors to the deli, and they carry. Um, they have chips that have hemp in them. I think I've shown those before. They've got this nut butter, which is hemp, and they really doing a good job of trying to get just little bits of hemp food product in their deli, and it's a great little place. So if you in Northside and you're shopping at Hemptations, stop by Sidewinder, get yourself a cup of coffee, take one more door down, get yourself into the deli, and find yourself some hemp food. Um, and so I love peanut butter, but peanut butter is not, peanut butter is high in sugar for the most part. I try to get organic or natural. Not that that's any less than sugar, to be honest with you. But I am definitely a big fan of peanut butter, so I do love mine. You can see that my jar here has been used because I am a big fan of that. So there you have it. Four from the store, one from my door on the product spotlight. What if I turn my light off?
There you
That's a
go.
little better. You
A
can
little
see me
better.
a little better. I don't just look like a dark blob
That's right.
in this on
For
the
all the people who
screen.
tune in for the visuals of me and Beach, they really want to see what we have going on. So it's gonna be very clear. Yes,
It's very
indeed.
true in the next segment for sure.
Speaking of seeing what Beach has going on, this next segment is entirely devoted to Beach and what he has going on. An update with the Guinness Book of World Records people that I've been bugging on X, they still do not care.
Yeah,
So
they don't care.
we will. I'll continue to bug them because what are they going to do about it? They'll either ignore me or they'll acknowledge me, one
Yeah.
way or the other. So we'll find out. So you Guinness, just answer me. I'll stop. Just answer me. Acknowledge what I'm saying, and we'll move on with our lives. In any case, and it brings
Right.
us to the greatest segment, not Guinness World Record uh, recognized, no awards yet per se, but still, prove me wrong. The greatest internet segment in history is the Beachwear segment. When I ask Beach a very simple question, when I ask what are you wearing, Beach?
What are you wearing, Beach? Well, now you'll know. I talked about how I found some, like a whole box of old hemp shirts. Um,
Okay.
And so I'm going to be showing one of those off. My hat is a Stealth 420 hat, and with the Stealth 420 hat, and this is something Headcase done. There's actually a secret pouch that's velcroed in the front of the hat, so you can hide your monies or goods or whatever you'd like to hide um, in your hat. My jacket is an old Ecolution jean jacket. I love my Ecolution stuff when I've got left of it. They made such good products, and I think they still are making good products. So go find Ecolution online if you can and see what they've got available. I doubt they're still making a jean jacket, so that might be a one of a kind right there. There probably aren't too many of those out on the road. But the shirt is what it's really all about. And this is an officially licensed Converse hemp shirt. 20 years ago or so, 15, 20 years ago, they released a whole line of Chuck Taylors in hemp and then also made a line of hemp clothing to go along with them. And so
Nice.
underneath that is what I like to call one of my question mark um, shirts because I'm not real sure where it came from. I'm pretty sure it came from Europe. It's a really nice blend of, um, I mean, just I don't know. I really like the thickness. I like the everything about it. Really, really feels good. It's well made, but I don't know. There's no product name. There's no label that says the label says it's hemp, but it doesn't say who made it. So I call those my question mark clothing. Because I have definitely have some shirts out there that I don't know who made them originally, one way or another. We move on to Hempy's jeans. I don't wear these a whole lot, but there's my good old Hempy's. You've heard the name Hempy's because I wear a lot of Hempy's clothing. I don't think I have a belt on, or normally I'd have a Hempy's belt. You can see in my pocket there, per usual, is my Green Springs Technology pen. Underneath it all, got my I Love Bad briefs on. And then my socks are Satori, the Satori Canna, and my one and only pair of Converse shoes. I don't have any Converse Chuck Taylors, hemp Chuck Taylors, which I can't believe somehow. I feel like we sold them and I didn't even ever get a pair, um, or I just never got a pair. But these are actually Converse shoes down there on the feet. So Converse is the question when you're saying, "What are you wearing, Beach?" on this lovely, fine Wednesday for the High Noon Hemp Show. I was having some serious technical difficulties, and so we didn't get a movie trailer over, unfortunately. So we're just going to jump right into the news. Again, we got quite a bit of news um, to take care of this week. That's for sure. First one, this is a U.S. News article. 13 healthy high fat foods you should be eating according to a dietitian. And I quote, last but not least are hemp seeds. And that was, they did have the hemp seeds. That was the last um, high fat food they talked about. But then again, like they said, and it's how it started. Last but not least are hemp seeds. We've talked about the nutritional value of the hemp seed over and over again. Um, Unfortunately, I don't think the berry overnight oats recipe came through, so I'll try to get that back on the show next week. Um, but I'm sure you could Google it if you really want to make yourself some berry overnight oats, which are dairy free and vegan. But they do include, I don't remember if this one included hemp milk or hemp seed. I feel like it was hemp milk, possibly, that they were using to soak the oats overnight, which is a big thing. A lot of this is kind of come around lately is these overnight oats recipes where you basically mix it up, put it in a bowl, put it in the fridge, leave it overnight. The oats soak up all the liquids and everything overnight, and then you've got yourself oatmeal that you don't have to cook or use hot water for in the morning, ready to go. If you got an automatic coffee maker and these ready, man, you just get up and boom, everything's ready for you. I'm a coffee drinker, so that's why I say that. Um, these are kind of fun. I did send a picture of these over. These are the Pure Mellow Eye Hemp Hydrogenal Rejuvenating Eye Patches. And this is kind of interesting because I think basically you just take these little patches and you put them underneath your eyes, um, and they
Oh,
kind
very
of
cool.
adhere. Um, there they are. And then of course all the good stuff in there is supposed to absorb in underneath your eyes. Obviously, this is kind of a anti-wrinkling fight, which just reminds me to tell you that you can just really just take your hemp lotion. um, I would, if you're really that concerned about wrinkles and things like that, I would use CBD and hemp, because the anti-inflammation properties of CBD and the nutritional value of hemp, you put them together and you're giving yourself a double whammy, um, when it comes to wrinkles or any puffiness or anything like that. I think they would work. But it's a pretty interesting product. Everything exists in the world, especially in the United States. It's just a matter of finding it with hemp. So here's some mellow patch or eye patches. I don't know what you call it. Yeah, eye patches. They don't go over the eye; they go under the eye, which then helps with those wrinkles or puffiness that you may have underneath your eyes that you don't wish for. Which, in my opinion, you really shouldn't care about unless it's caused by some type of malnutrition or medical reason. Just go with the face you got for the most part. But those aren't society rules. So I know I got to play in with society when it comes to reality. So that's why these products exist, because people want them. Supply and demand, as they say. And because hemp is such a great thing to use in something like this, it's good for them for doing that. Check out this carbon black. I've talked about carbon black before, um, but they have basically a faux leather. So this is their faux leather purse that they're making, and again using hemp. Um, I'm sorry, I just jumped. Where did? Wait a minute. What I do? Huh. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This is a hemp black purse. Carbon black is the black pigment made from burning crude oil. Okay, it's used in tires, shoes, fabrics, cosmetics, inks, personal electronics. Okay, Hemp Black, the company, looks to replace carbon black, which is obviously awful. So I can't believe I've never heard of carbon black, um, with hemp, to make a cleaner, earth friendly product. And so this is Hemp Black's eco fiber. Or no, I'm sorry, this is Hemp Black's purse. And you can go to Hemp Black's website and they have clothing and other items and stuff. I talked about Hemp Black not too long ago because the company Eco Fiber made a deal with them and the big athletic wear company to get hemp material uh, out there, on the streets, so to speak. What's interesting is the CEO that arranged all this for Eco Fiber was just kind of outed. And he also made a deal with a company called Cruise Foam, which is a packaging company. And they make all kinds of different packaging, but they are, in fact, looking to incorporate hemp into their packaging for, because they are very environmentally friendly when it comes to their packaging as well. So, hemp black for your fake leather goods. I hate to use the word fake. It's a good thing. It's a good thing in this description because it's fake because it's not real leather. It's It's earth-friendly, sustainable. I should say cow-friendly leather. It's cow-friendly
Yeah.
leather is what this is, from hemp black. And stay away from anything that has carbon black in it. Pigment made from burning crude oil. I had no idea. No idea. And I can see how I can see how it would be a dye. I don't know why we have to dye our tires. Like, why can't our tires just be a natural color? Like, why do they have to be black to begin with if they're made out of something that they're not black? It just seems so stupid. But the shoes and the fabrics, I can understand. The fact that it's used in cosmetics is just crazy. But, we put a lot of crude oil, petrochemically based body products on us. I personally don't, but the world once again does. So, excuse me. I am kind of fighting something in my gut, but I have to get the hemp show out because we missed last week for sure.
That's right.
Um, well, in all of a week, last week I was going to report that the New York legislators have a bill that would allow hemp seed to be included in animal feed for pets, horses. This is fun. Llamas and alpacas. And this bill makes sense. It's not for livestock or anything. These are more pets. You're not going to eat your horse. You don't have to worry about it. You're not going to eat your pet. You're not going to eat your llama or your alpaca. Um, and so I can see why this would be a great thing to allow in the state of New York. But guess what? The governor rejected it. So all of a week they talked about this bill. I think they passed it, but it must have not passed with great numbers, or they didn't even get to vote on it, and maybe the governor in New York can say no, no good. So it's still legal, by the way, for you to feed your pets hemp. I know I give Josie hemp treats, hemp seed, and CBD. Um, you know, still legal to feed your horse hemp, but I guess it's not legal to actually put the hemp in the food for you to go buy in the store. So you got to buy it separately. You buy your horse food and your hemp seed or whatever, and you got to make your own, because it's 100% not illegal for you to feed your animals um, uh, hemp, no matter what kind of animal they are. Even if it's a cow and you plan on eating it, that's legal. If it's a cow and you plan on selling it, that's not legal. And you can't, because hemp is not an acceptable USDA um, livestock feed. We've seen experiments with goats. We've seen the cow experiments. Right now, they're doing some stuff with farm fishing and feeding them hemp. But and even though in those studies that we've seen with the cows and the goats already, no significant negative effects. Okay, uh, but still not approved by the USDA for livestock feed. So if it's personal, you can do it. If it's professional or consumer grade, um, uh, chickens, cows, whatever it may be, um, it is not permitted in the United States to sell a chicken to someone that has been fed hemp food or hemp grain or hemp anything. So once we get, I mean, I think it's huge for the industry. In 5 years, I think we'll be okay. But right now, it's all still so new, um, which is crazy, honestly. They can get the same benefits from the hemp food that a human would: high in protein, omega 6, omega 3 essential fatty acids, magnesium, all the minerals and vitamins and minerals and everything that's in hemp seed um, would carry over to um, the livestock. There was I did a story on the Asian gentleman who distinctively, like, could tell the difference in his chickens size wise, and his customers could tell the difference in the chicken when he fed them hemp. And it was a good thing, not a bad thing. So, eventually when we get that done, we're going to see everybody. And again, We need to bring the cost of hemp seed down. It's crazy. At Kroger's, like a small bag of whole hemp seed was just unbelievably expensive. It's just stupid expensive. And, again, that goes back to we need more farmers growing for grain. And they need to make it easier for farmers to grow for grain, one way or another, fiber and grain. Uh, because that, for reasons like this, if we had the supply to make it cheap, it would make it much easier. And, the studies, more studies, if we do all the studies we can to prove that it's not going to harm us or the food product. What I don't understand is if it's completely legal for me to go to Kroger's and buy hemp seed and eat it and add it to my foods, why can't I eat a cow that's been fed hemp seed? To
Yeah.
me, it's just so baffling. It's an FDA approved food. It's grass, generally regarded as safe. It has nutritional values, and it's okay for me, the consumer, to eat it. But it's not okay if it's in a cow or a chicken or a goat, or whatever. And so, I promote veganism as a lifestyle, but I am not a vegan. Uh, I think that a safe or a very low amount of meat to be produced, until we can just produce all the fake meat in the that the world can use, and get the same nutritional value out of it. Um, but I do promote less and less. I don't eat a whole lot of meat, uh, but again, and hemp seed can have a lot to do with that, with less meat and more nutrition in a food, one way or another. Um, well, speaking of horses, a small study on horses and hemp feed showed that horses preferred hemp over soybean meal and beet pulp. Now, the next studies to come, thankfully, they're going to do more studies to find out the effects of the hemp feed diet on horses. Not that, again, we're ever going to eat horses, but if we can prove if we can prove that it is actually beneficial, or at least not negative, um, then once again we can get it approved for horse feed, and they can just throw it in there, and you don't have to worry about doing your own. Um, it took the horses a couple days, from what I remember from the article, to get used to eating it. But once they did, they definitely, the study showed that they preferred it over soybean and, again, apparently beet pulp. Now, you're going to get that same protein benefits that you would from soybean. There's still some arguments out there that say we don't digest soy actually that well. So I don't know if that means that horses, but apparently that's one of the bigger feeds. Um, if I could go back 35 years, I try to remember 40 years, try to remember what I have no idea what the horse feed that we used on the farm back in the day was. We just gave it to them, but they mostly ate hay. To be honest with you, we didn't really like ever feed them anything special other than hay. They grazed during the day. They had free range fields to run around in, and then we had hay. And I don't remember a whole lot. I do remember a trough that we did, in fact, dump some granular food into every once in a while, but I don't know. I don't know what that was, because I'm sure it was a lot more expensive than hay was, and so that's what we used for our horses on the farm growing up. All right. Consumer Report article: How to create a healthy nursery for your baby. Now, they specifically mentioned using hemp mattresses or carpet material. And again, VOC was a big part of this. Those are the chemicals that leach out of products, and are not good for humans, and definitely not good for babies. I'm sure of that. Um, what they didn't say And I would like to add to that is clothing, blankets, toys, paint. All of those things are much better off to be hemp based. Cotton based, you're talking about the largest user of herbicides and pesticides on the planet when it comes to cotton. And so, I mean, I can tell you if my kid was going to be chewing on a soft toy or something, I sure would rather it would be hemp uh, than any other material, to be honest with you. No chemicals needed, um, you know, so much healthier in the long run for a baby, just like it is for an adult, for the most part. Excuse me. Uh, Hopefully, this picture of the eco village Bokel made its way over to. There it is. This place is super cool. So, this is in the Netherlands. It's an award winning sustainable housing community. There are 36 flats, and it's built with sustainable wood and hemp. They mentioned the hemp as an insulator and how good it is. They talked about how environmentally friendly it is, um, and so this is, definitely one of the bigger housing projects um, out there. But super super cool. Um, you know, to live in hemp is to live in health, in my opinion. It's just again so much of a better material, and this is the hempcrete that they use to insulate. Helps you keep cooler in the summers and warmer in the winters. Keeps it in. It continues to sequester carbon, so it's carbon negative. So all the carbon that it took out of the air when it was growing, on top of the fact that once you place it where you put it, it's supposed to sequester carbon as well, makes it very carbon negative, um, which I think is the general rule of thought going forward with definitely with sustainable building is to try to get to that carbon negative um, one way or another. So pretty neat little building, um, kind of fun as well. But again, there's 36 flats. Must be a lot of single people there because they only said there's like 42 or 46 people that live there in the 36 flats, or maybe they're not all occupied. I don't know, but it may just be a lot of single earth-friendly people living there in the Netherlands, in this award-winning sustainable housing community. Um, so Aldi is coming out with for the holidays. They're calling them chalkboard. It's a chalkboard line of candles, and basically what it is there's like a chalkboard on the candle, and then it comes with a little piece of chalk, and then you can write whatever you want on there. Um, and they were kind of doing it as like I forget what that's called, Advent calendar, where every day you could change the message on your candle. But they actually have a hemp scented candle. So replicating the smell of cannabis has always been very difficult. We used to sell hemp cannabis incense, cannabis smelling incense, and I can tell you this: it didn't smell anything like any of the cannabis that I'd ever had. I don't know what they were using. Um, I think in today's day and age, you might actually be able to, throw some terpenes in there to really get the odor of cannabis. But it takes a lot to really replicate the smell of cannabis in a pure way, in a good way. To be honest with you, because there's just so many chemical compounds in cannabis that make up that odor, that I always find funny when people complain about it. Like, oh, the pot farm smells terrible, and I'm like, well, A, it only smells terrible when it's firing, and B, it does not smell that bad. I mean, um, even the fact that it smells like skunk 9 times out of 10 for some reason, um, I still don't think that really smells like a noxious smell, um, which is funny. Um, okay. This is kind of interesting. So there's a company, they're called Lori plus Mary Jane. That's the name of the company. And they're making spices, a line of spices called Herb Plus Spice. And this is over the counter, from my understanding. And somehow they're using CBD, and I assume they're using CBD flower is how they're doing this, to add the flavor of cannabis to your food. Um, Now, I have seen this before. Cooking with terpenes is nothing new to cooking with cannabis. There was a one TV show that I used to watch, which was a pretty good one. They had a whole fridge full of, and again, they were using wax and flour. I mean, they were using all kinds of the high THC Delta 9, but they also had, a rack of terpenes that they would use to flavor the foods with. And so this company, Lori plus Mary Jane, again, making a line of spices called Herb Plus Spice with CBD. And again, I think I would only guess maybe they're using the CBD flower as a flavoring to cook with. Africa. Africa is coming quite popular to grow industrial hemp. So I suppose that I don't know this. It's the KwaZulu Natal. I don't know if that's like a region or a combination of tribes that have come together in Africa to create the KwaZulu Natal. But they have granted 664 hemp licenses to grow industrial hemp in Africa. And we have seen there are some, I don't know if they call them states or provinces, I don't know what they're called in Africa. I feel like they're their own countries, actually, countries in Africa um, that have legalized industrial hemp and are growing industrial hemp. And I think this kind of stems out of that. And so, uh, good for them for moving forward with industrial hemp in Africa. It can be a benefit to them as much as anything. In fact, where I think food is scarce or an issue, not growing industrial hemp is almost cruel and unusual, um, in my opinion, because it has such great nutritional value. I mean, this is a food that if we could incorporate this food into starving nations' diets, A, gives them something to do as a profession. More farmers can grow industrial hemp in these countries, give them more jobs to create for processing and making foods out of this, and then create the nutritional value for the citizens of the country to be healthier and thrive and instead of being held down by starvation, which is still an issue in plenty parts of the world, including the United States. Um, we do a pretty good job of feeding everybody in America, but that doesn't mean we're feeding them good food. We're probably feeding the poor the worst foods. People in higher places tend not to care. They want to take care of people, but they don't care whether they get the real nutritional value that they should get. They just, get given probably some of the cheaper foods. And hemp, can supply nutritional value to so much of the world. It's insane, in my opinion. Everywhere, everywhere. If you're growing for fiber, you can still grow for grain. If you're growing for grain, you can still use that plant for fiber. And I've always said, and I will continue to say, until it's really the truth, the most important reason to grow industrial hemp is food. It's the number one reason. There are quite a bit of reasons to grow industrial hemp: clothing, housing, CBD, construction, paper, uh, pet products, all these other things. But to me, the most important reason to grow and promote industrial hemp right now is for food. And then the second is for clothing. We need to remove the insidious um, growing of cotton, which again requires more herbicides and pesticides than any other agricultural crop on the planet, almost a third. So we could get rid of a third of the chemicals that we use on our planet, go into the planet, um, if we would grow industrial hemp for clothing, which is crazy. And again, just look at how many chemicals in the genetic modification and genetic engineering, not genetically modifying. We genetically modify industrial hemp through breeding all the time. Genetically modifying something is not a negative if it's done correctly. Okay. It's only a negative, I think. I think that gene splicing, gene genetic engineering, that's a whole different ball game to discuss. I'm not saying right, wrong, or indifferent. Okay, I get it. They're trying to produce as much food as they can to feed the world. So why don't they just stand up and start growing hemp to help feed the world? Because that's their argument for genetic engineering when it comes to food products, um, as they can get more out of it, bigger, better, so to speak, when it's genetically engineered or given a bunch of chemicals, herbicides, pesticides, things like that. Where when we grow industrial hemp for grain, it still doesn't require any herbicides or pesticides. There is no known pest, and there are some known pests, but there is no known pest that will destroy a field of grain. There's no known pest that will destroy a field for fiber. Okay? We're beyond worrying about the industrial hemp for flour, which is the CBD, CBN, CBG, THCA, which is the newest one that we can get in high forms in the flour. That takes a little bit of more specialty. Um, you know, would I like to think that they're growing most of that? And in Kentucky, you couldn't use chemicals on your industrial hemp up until about a year or two ago, where they finally approved, I think, one herbicide possibly to be used. So it was all basically organic because there were no chemicals being used. And of course, organic is a soil rating, so it's a little different. But it is just so much of a cleaner product all the way around for the farmer, for the soil, for the plant, for the consumer, all of it. When we're growing for grain, which is the food products for the most part, or the oil, hemp seed oil, or the fiber, which is where we make the clothing. We use that for insulation. We can make hemperglass. I don't know what the hell to describe that, but the composite that's actually made with hemp fibers. And so many unbelievably great uses. No chemicals needed. No chemicals needed. No drilling to get, no cutting down trees to get whatever. Every 5 to 6 months, another batch of very clean, very good products that only help humanity. There is no negative. If someone, anyone, ever, Jack Hare had a challenge, a $10,000 challenge in the back of his book that if you could prove anything he said in his book wrong, um, he would pay you this money, which I don't believe anyone ever claimed, for all the things. And again, I truly believe that I have never, ever, ever seen anyone come up with a truly detrimental negative to industrial hemp that says, oh, maybe we shouldn't grow industrial hemp. Maybe we shouldn't replace this with industrial hemp or replace that with industrial hemp. Uh, because all in all, it's as safe, as good as anything that it rivals. And I go on to say that most of the products are safer and better than whatever it is that it may be competing with, which is, again, a whole nother reason why I don't understand um, the industry not truly embracing this. Again, if you make a product for a human and someone says to you, you know what, you can use better stuff, more sustainable stuff, come up with a better product for your consumers, for your constituents, so to speak. Uh, why wouldn't you? And I understand that the industries in the world have gotten so caught up in how they're doing things. We've gotten so used to it, and we don't have to go backwards. We don't have to go backwards. We just have to go forward with the replacement. And slowly but surely, we're doing that. Every more acre that we grow for fiber is one less cotton T-shirt on the market. Every one more acre that we grow for grain is one less not as nutritionally valuable food on the market, or um, not petrochemically based products that humans use on their skin and shampoos and all those things. All that can be replaced with industrial hemp, and it once again pretty much proven to be better for us than the counterparts. And that's the one thing they ignore. They really do. You never hear anybody say, "Yeah, we know that hemp makes a better shirt than cotton, but we're going to keep growing cotton." What they'd come out and say is, "Oh, cannabis is controversial and marijuana is bad, so stick with your cotton shirt." you know, in all honesty, I, I truly feel like that's where a lot of the industries continue to defend themselves, defend their products by comparing industrial hemp to, say, marijuana. I can see boardrooms full of people. Oh, we're not going to make our products out of hemp because then people will think we're drug dealers and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
When it's all laid out on the table, you will end up with a beneficial, better product than what you were supplying your consumers before. And why you wouldn't want to do that is truly beyond me. Truly, truly beyond me. Uh, no doubt about it. This is kind of neat. So there is a rope museum in Sweden, and it allows you to use a 984-foot rope walk to make hemp rope. Now, you say, what's a rope walk? Well, this is how they traditionally used to make large cordage. So a rope walk is just basically a long straight path or structure where workers twist strands of fiber together into a rope. Um, and so this was the handmade way of making rope for centuries. And it was interesting because the person that wrote the article actually they let them use the facility because they wanted to make hemp rope for cordage for a replica ship that they were building. They wanted it to be as original as it would have been 200-300 years ago, and all the ships, for the most part, 200 or 300 years ago, all of the rigging was made from hemp. The sails were made from hemp. There was an unbelievable amount of hemp on a ship um, that couldn't be replaced with any other fiber. No other fiber held up to the elements like hemp does. Um, and then, all of a sudden we have synthetic versions and all these other things. And of course, then sail ships, large sailing ships kind of went away to the Industrial Revolution. We lost a lot of beneficial hemp products to the Industrial Revolution, um, as well as a lot of sustainable, earth friendly things. I'm not a Luddite. I'm not against cars and machinery and all of those things. Um, but I do know that the Industrial Revolution is over and we need to move on to the environmental revolution. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just a different thing. Okay, it's just going. It's almost, and I think that's why a lot of people look at the industrial hemp industry as going backwards, because you go back before the Industrial Revolution, and there were so many hemp products in the world used on a daily basis, essential, essential to humanity and most parts of the world. And then the Industrial Revolution came along. We started making things out of synthetically and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, hemp's not being used. It's so bizarre when you look at the history of it. It's so bizarre when you look at the history of it, to be honest with you, because it was so prevalent in society, its use in humanity. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of started to disappear, and it disappeared to inferior products. Now, those products that they were making now might have been easier, so to speak. But when I say inferior, I mean to the detriment of our planet, to the detriment of our lungs, to the detriment of the soil, to the detriment of the water, everything. When the Industrial Revolution was basically done, um, we have destroyed a good part of our world. We know this. Okay, anybody that argues that is an idiot. And I'm not a name caller, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you can't see what we did to a naturally occurring planet, um, and think that it's not a bad thing, then you're just closed-minded and happy to live in the world that was given you. Whereas those of us that care want to make the world a better place, the planet a better place. The world a better place makes me sound like I want everybody to be happy. I don't care if you're not happy. I don't. You can be sad all day long. It doesn't matter to me. Again, what I care about is clean air, clean soil, and clean water. And everybody on the planet has a right to those three things. Everybody on the planet has a right to those three things. Um, and that's just the direction we're going. That's why I started my research 30 years ago. That's why I started my business 27 years ago. That's why I continue to host the High Noon Hemp Show, because hemp is a huge part. It's an amazingly large part of making the planet good again, worth the aliens visiting. If they, you know, I suppose if we clean it all up and make it nice, that would what we'd have to worry about is aliens coming and taking it from us, like all the science fiction says. I don't know why they'd want it right now, because we pretty much destroyed it. I don't know why any alien would want to come here and live all in all if they have a clean planet. Um, and so that's the goal. It's again, um, it's the way it should be. It's the way it should be always. How about these new Pumas? I don't know. I'm gonna have to go and look and see if I even have a pair of hemp Pumas, because I'm not sure that I do. I feel like a new Puma had some hemp shoes, um, but these particular Pumas were 2 years of research in the making. And what they were doing, and this is unbelievably cool, is they're making a reliable compostable shoe. And so again, I can't imagine how many shoes have gone to the landfill, and you know the leather, that might break down decently quick, possibly, but the soles of the shoe is the is really the important part of it all, because that's the part that probably sits in a landfill for who knows how long, hundreds of years maybe, when it comes to the soles of the shoes. And so coming up with a compostable shoe, once again, you can feel good about burying it in your backyard, letting it go back to nature. You can feel good about throwing them away. Send all the compostable stuff you can to the landfill. Um, because it will naturally, hopefully, break down and help create a better environment in the landfill, so to speak, amongst all the plastic and styrofoam. It will never break down or will be there forever. Um, but you don't have to feel bad about throwing stuff away. I mean, if I know something, breaks down, of course, about the only thing I really throw away is food product and um, unfortunately some plastics that I don't have or keep a whole lot of to begin with. And I don't throw away a whole lot. I don't have a whole lot of trash because most of my trash is compostable, in all honesty, because I recycle everything or I reuse it. If it's a plastic bag, there's no telling how many times I use a plastic bag if I have to. Not that I use a whole lot of those because I have my hemp grocery bags, but every once in a while I end up with them. But normally, if I have a plastic bag from somewhere, I'll take it down into the store and then I'll let them use it for a customer. So it finds it on its way, and then hopefully that customer uses it for something else before it goes into the landfill. Although I do think we can put plastic bags in the recycling now. I'm gonna have to check into that one way or another. I'm not sure if we can do that here, but in some places I think you can actually send them to the recycling center. Whether they get recycled again, that's a whole nother question. Um, I want to feel good about sending stuff to the recycling center, but I've also, seen the programs and the documentaries where once all the recycling is divided up, not as much gets recycled as you would hope for, I think. But it doesn't matter. That's why I used to they always said styrofoam wasn't recyclable. And I used to get bitched at by environmentalists, like, don't put your styrofoam in the recycling because it's not recycling. I'm like, well, it needs to be reused for something, so I'm going to put it in there, and then if they have to have somebody take it out, maybe eventually, if they take out enough of it, they'll realize, hey, let's find a use for styrofoam that's not the landfill, because styrofoam is that's a if it's the white styrofoam, then we're talking 500 years, from my understanding, to it to break down. Of course, we've gone to cornstarch packing materials, which has replaced a lot of the styrofoam that we use for packing. They have not found a real substitute, and this is why we see a lot more uh, paper packaging in food products. If you want to be sustainable, instead of sending your wings home in styrofoam, a paper product or something that can be recycled or composted um, is the goal. And of course, we're seeing that hemp being used, I think, and we will see more hemp being used, even if it's a solid product. We can use hemp compost, not hemp compost, hemp composite to make the packaging so that once again, go ahead, throw it away, send it to the landfill, um, because it's so much cleaner. Until the landfill is full of industrial hemp packing and disposable uh, food containers, we're not there yet either. Uh, you know, and so, and again, I get it. Styrofoam works very well because it's a good insulator for hot food, which is also kind of sketchy to me because I feel like I've gotten like half melted styrofoam containers from the food being so hot, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
is this getting into my food? Is this like, am I now eating this melted styrofoam? Because yeah, I know it's supposed to be great, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't change all the time. And again, all that can be made by with a better material. I'm not saying all that has to be replaced by hemp, because once again, what we're seeing with a lot of packaging, which we could use hemp for, is more paper, as far as just disposable food containers. And again, one of my favorite quotes from one of the TV shows. I watch a lot of TV, but one of my favorite quotes ever is, "The road to the apocalypse is paved with disposable food containers." That was all. That was. I actually love that line so much that I actually have it written down right here beside my desk because it's I feel like that's about a half truth anyway, one way or another. So, thank you, Puma, for putting the time and the research into this, for knowing that hemp is where it can be used, it should be used for any compostable products, one way or another. All right, one more kind of cool, fun little product to show you here. This is a USB to micro 3 foot hemp charging cable. I don't even remember. It might even say at the top of the page where I came up with this. I don't even know. I might have just put hemp into my Google search bar and then hit shopping, and this one popped up. But basically, it's pretty fun. And just the outside of the cord is hemp. I don't think it's solid hemp. There's probably some plastic or something in there separating the actual cord itself from the hemp. But on the outside, they're using hemp. It'd be kind of interesting to see if when there's electricity running through it, if the hemp hairs stand up on on it, because that's the rumor, is that hemp conducts electricity in a way and does respond to it that I don't think it's enough that it could shock you, but I do believe that it may still stand the hairs up a little bit when it's got power running through it, one way or another. So that's just a fun product. And I have seen advertised before, and I really wondered whether they were using hemp. This is pretty, you can take a look at that thing and you can see that that's probably hemp cord on the outside of there. There's no question in my mind, that is in fact hemp fiber, wrapping the cord, or keeping the cord. But so fun, good stuff. Um, Not a whole lot of events. The only event that I have right now, so if you're in Kansas, and you want to grow industrial hemp, or you have any questions or answers you need, the Hemp Advisory Board meeting is December 20th, and this is going to be a Zoomtown thing. So if you're in Kansas, you just go to the agriculture.ks.gov, the official agricultural site of Kansas, and they have a hemp page, much like I do believe the Ohio Department of Agriculture has a hemp page on their site as well to help people. But this is actually a board meeting, which you can attend. You have to reserve your space beforehand. So if you're in Kansas and you think you want to attend, or anywhere and you just want to know what's going on with Kansas, maybe you're in a bordering state, maybe you're, thinking about growing some hemp in Kansas. Who knows? But again, it's the Department of Agriculture's Industrial Hemp Advisory Board meeting. It's at 1:30 p.m., December 20th. So about a week, and in fact, a week from today, right after the show is over next week. You'll be able to go and be a part of that. But I do believe you do have to sign up early and get pre-approved, probably, so that they give you the Zoom link. I don't think they're just going to post the link and let anybody come, even though they really should. Anybody should be able to just come in as a viewer, not a participant, but a viewer, um, and attend this meeting in Kansas. All right. Well, I didn't have any questions. Once again, for the 230th plus time or so, this is the season 12. Is that right? Season 20. What
Indeed.
season are we on?
Season 20.
Season
Yep.
20. Season 20. Season finale today. Episode 12. We do 12 episodes a season. The new season starts next week.
That's right.
We don't take any time off. The time off that we take is when we have glitches and we can't do the show.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever taken scheduled. No, there was one show where I think we took scheduled time off to do, and I might have been on vacation. Other than that, the only time we don't do the show as an unscheduled.
Yeah,
Um, and you only learn about that the day of the show. But
something's gone wrong.
um, something's gone wrong. We will be back for season 21 next week, next Wednesday. Um, this will probably be my. I'll maybe do a little bit of the relative holidays research, and this is all the holidays. There are, I think, if I remember correctly, like 6 different holidays that happen in December or the beginning of January. Um, and that's why it is the holiday season. It's not just I understand people really love their Christmas, and I'm not trying to take Christmas away from anybody that loves Christmas. But there are other holidays out there that other people celebrate that
Mm.
should be mutually respected. And there are plenty of them. And so next week, I think usually the show right before good old Hempmas, as I like to call it, um, and I'll maybe do a little research and see what I don't know of any specific hemp related things, um, but Hanukkah hemp candles. I mean, right off the top of my head, you burn the candle, hemp candles. Was that I don't know if the candle that burnt longer that started or where the Hanukkah holiday kind of gets that candle from was made from hemp, but sure wouldn't surprise me, I suppose, that it would have a hemp wick, possibly,
Mhm.
however many years ago that those candles back then actually had hemp wicks. And did that help it burn for longer? I don't know. Maybe, maybe there was some hemp oil in there that helped with that. We know that hemp oil is highly flammable, has a very low flash point. So we'll see. We'll see if I can come up with some specific hemp related holidays type ideology for that show. For now, remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See you all next week.